This is for Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada taught us to think big and broadcast everything. Srila Prabhupada was a big thinker. So, all right. Live stream is going. All right, chapter 15, the killing of Denuka, the ass demon. Introduction. We can take turns, and maybe we can make stops and comment on things. So I'm going to start. This chapter describes how Lord Balaram and Lord Krishna, while tending their cows in the pastures of Vrindavan, killed Dhanukasura, enabled the residents of Vrindavan to eat the fruits of the tala trees, and saved the young cowherds from Kaliya's poison. Yeah, that's a brief description of what's coming in this chapter. There will be this Dhanukasura, the ass demon. Then there will be a poisoned river from where the cowherd boys will drink and fall dead. So the next paragraph, revealing their boyhood, Pauganda phase of pastimes, Rama and Krishna were one day bringing the cows to pasture when they entered an attractive forest decorated with a clear lake. There they began playing forest sports along with their friends. Pretending to tire, Lord Baladev laid his head upon the lap of a cowherd boy and rested, as Lord Krishna helped relieve his elder brother's fatigue by massaging his feet. Then Krishna also placed his head on the lap of a cowherd boy to rest, and another cowherd boy massaged his feet. In this way, Krishna, Balaram, and their cowherd friends enjoyed various pastimes. During this play, Sridham, Subal, Stoka Krishna, and other cowherd boys described to Rama and Krishna a wicked and irrepressible demon named Denuka, who had assumed the form of a jackass and was living in the Talavan forest near Govardhan Hill. This forest was full of many varieties of sweet fruits. But fearing this demon, no one dared try to relish the taste of those fruits, and thus someone had to kill the demon and all his associates. See, with demons, you don't talk. If there's a problem and there's a demon, you have to kill. Lord Rama and Lord Krishna, hearing of the situation, set off for this forest to fulfill the desire of their companions. See, Krishna is eager to fulfill the desire of his companions, spiritual desires. Arriving at the Talavan, Lord Balaram shook many fruits out of the palm trees, and as soon as he did so, the jackass demon Denuka ran swiftly to attack him. But Balaram grabbed his hind legs with one hand, whirled him around, and threw him into the top of a tree, thus slaying him. All of Dhanukasura's friends, overcome by fury, then rushed to attack, but Rama and Krishna took hold of them one by one, swung them around, and killed them until the disturbance was finally finished. When Krishna and Balaram returned to the cowherd community, Yashoda and Rohini placed them on their respective laps. A lot of lap placing here. They kissed their faces, fed them with finely prepared food, and then put them to bed. Some days later, okay, this is the next pastime. So would anyone like to take over and read from here, some days later? Just unmute yourself. Some dramatic reading.
Can I do that?
Yeah. Krishnadaya, is that you? Yeah. Krishnadaya, yes.
Some days later, Lord Krishna went with his friends, but without his older brother, to the banks of the Kalindi in order to tend the cows. The cows and the cowherd boys became very thirsty and drank some water from the Kalindi. But it had been contaminated with poison, and they all fell unconscious on the river bank. Krishna then brought them back to life by the merciful rain of his glance, and all of them regaining their consciousness appreciated his great mercy. You are on mute, Prabhu.
Thank you, Krishna Pradai Prabhu. I was reflecting on what you just read. We were all laying dead, poisoned by material association, and then Srila Prabhupada brought us back by his glance. And we were appreciating Srila Prabhupada's great mercy. It's a very nice pastime, right? Krishna is bringing us back to life. So today's verses are, tomorrow's verses are 2 and 3. So we can read 1, 2, 3. Krishna Prabhu, would you like to continue reading 1, 2, 3?
Yes,
verses 1, 2, 3.
Only the translations, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
1, just the translation, and 2, 3 translation and purport.
Yeah. The translation 1, text 1. Sukadeva Goswami said, when Lord Rama and Lord Krishna attained the age of Pauganda, 6 to 10, while living in Vrindavan, the cowherdmen allowed them to take up the task of tending the cows. Engaging thus in the company of their friends, the two boys rendered the land of Vrindavan most auspicious by imprinting upon it the marks of their lotus feet. Text 2. Thus, desiring to enjoy pastimes, Lord Madhava, sounding his flute, surrounded by cowherd boys who were chanting his glories, and accompanied by Lord Baladev, kept the cows before him and entered the Vrindavan forest, which was full of flowers and rich with nourishment for the animals. You want me to read the purport?
Yeah, there's purport.
Purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Purport. Srila Sanatana Goswami has explained the various meanings of the word Madhava as follows. Madhava normally indicates Krishna to be the Lord who is the consort of the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi. This name also implies that Lord Krishna descended in the dynasty of Madhu. Since the spring season is also known as Madhava, it is understood that as soon as Lord Krishna entered the Vrindavan forest, it automatically exhibited all the opulences of spring, becoming filled with flowers, breezes, and a celestial atmosphere. Another reason Lord Krishna is known as Madhava is that he enjoys his pastimes in Madhu, the taste of conjugal love. Lord Krishna would loudly sound his flute as he entered the forest of Sri Vrindavan, thus giving inconceivable bliss to all the residents of his hometown, Vrajadham. These simple pastimes of playfully entering the forest, playing on the flute, and so forth were performed daily in the spiritual land of Vrindavan. Text 3. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead looked over that forest, which resounded the charming sounds of bees, animals, and birds, and which was enhanced by a lake whose clear water resembled the minds of great souls, and by a breeze carrying the fragrance of 100-petaled lotuses. Seeing all this, Lord Krishna decided to enjoy the auspicious atmosphere. Purport. Lord Krishna saw that the Vrindavan forest was giving pleasure to all five senses. The bees, birds, and animals made charming sounds that brought sweet pleasure to the ears. The wind was faithfully rendering service to the Lord by blowing throughout the forest, carrying the cool moisture of a transparent lake and thus giving the pleasure to the sense of touch. By the sweetness of the wind, even the sense of taste was being stimulated, and the fragrance of lotus flowers was bringing pleasure to the nostrils. And the entire forest was endowed with heavenly beauty, which was giving spiritual bliss to the eyes. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has thus explained the significance of this verse.
Thank you. Thank you, Krishnadaya Prabhu, for your dramatic reading. So what are your realizations and reflections on that? And that goes for everyone. Feel free to unmute yourself and speak. This is a collective class.
Since the two verses, latest two verses are Dayal Prose verses, without breaching into them, like in the summary, from the summary, like what you were, when you were speaking. So there was like there are some nice points to contemplate upon. Maybe I'll just start with one. So the significance of this, I mean, the central theme of this chapter is about Dhenukasura. So the one point which was the mentality of demon, you see, Dhenuka had very sweet fruits in that particular garden, but he was not ready to share. Those things which are, giving pleasure to everybody, only one person was holding just for the pleasure of his, unholy master. So this is how the demon mentality or the ass mentality. So they just hold on to the things which are beneficial for everybody. So thank you for just, of course, it's in the summary, but you pointed out. But I had another point also, but that is a little bit different from this central theme. But yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking demons aren't just demons. There's always this element of bothering others. They're not just demons in their own right, in their own place, just doing their thing. No, demon means necessarily bothering others, making others' life difficult, harassing people and animals. That's a demon. Thank you, Krishna Prabhu, for bringing this up. And what do we do with demons? We confront them.
Yeah, but just one point. Anyway, you brought that again, So the same question, like we were reading in another program. So when Kali was there and Parikshit Maharaj encountered Kali. So Parikshit Maharaj was about to terminate Kali, but Kali said, spare my life. So when you said, when demon comes, we kill them. So that's what you said in the earlier time. So, but Kali was an exception. The knowing that Kali is really sinful, but Parikshit Maharaj, yeah, so had a vision, broader vision. So that's why he allowed. Yeah. Sometimes, do you think that is wise?
Yeah, he spared Kali because Kali's wives, right, asked for Kali's life.
Oh, no, not Kali, Kali personified.
Oh, Kali. Yeah, he also begged begged mercy from Parikshit, as far as I remember.
Yes. But he's sinful, right? Like if he's staying, then he'll spread sin.
Yeah. Absolutely. They spread sin.
Yeah. So in the next chapter, they say that there are advantages also of Kali Yuga. So Parikshit Maharaj is a visionary, so he saw the broader picture. Like the point what I was trying to link towards this theme, today's theme, is like sometimes, even negative persons, there is some silver lining. So a superior authority may see that silver lining and then give them a chance. So, like Srila Prabhupada saw the silver lining in all of us.
Yeah. Very good point, Krishnadaya Prabhu. We should see that spark of spirituality in every living entity, whether it's a demon or a demigod. We are concerned with their spiritual life, and we want to fan that spark on behalf of our spiritual master, on behalf of Srila Prabhupada, we represent the whole Guru Parampara in that sense. So we shouldn't divide people we're dealing with into demons and demigods and treat anyone differently. We treat everyone in the same way. And we see everyone as deserving of Krishna's mercy. That's our equal vision. That's our Samadarshana. We're willing to give Krishna to anyone and everyone without discrimination. We should take into account time, place, and circumstances, as Srila Prabhupada taught us. In other words, we want to make sure we're strong enough, our sadhana is good enough, that we can go and confront demons and hang out with demons, trying to purify them, or demigods for that matter. Same thing. We want to make sure that we're equipped properly, and then we can go and spread Krishna's mercy. In doing so, we should be like an expert doctor. We want to make sure the dosage is right, the time is right, the place is right, as best as we can. We should do that. Otherwise, we can drift into this judgmental state where we just criticize everybody left and right, cursing people, or pleasing people, giving them watered down thing that will never work or make any difference in their life. So there's always this balance of time, place, and circumstance, and strong sadhana on our part. We should be good devotees ourselves, as best as we can, as good as we can be, and consider time, place, and circumstance in giving Krishna's mercy to other, not forcing mercy on anyone, but making people appreciate what the gift that Srila Prabhupada brought. Srila Prabhupada was never judgmental, or he would never make people feel uncomfortable. I was listening to somebody was reflecting on Srila Prabhupada, a disciple of his. He was saying Srila Prabhupada would never make any devotee feel uncomfortable. He was always very accommodating, very welcoming, very loving. Even when he had to be heavy, he would always come back with something nice afterwards. He would chastise, he would make big eyes, and he would say what needed to be said, but then he would always come back with something encouraging, something nice. And he was once asked, Srila Prabhupada, look, Srila Prabhupada, your sannyasi disciple is doing this and that, and you're giving sannyas to this person, and he's known to have committed this thing that is not very fitting, and you still gave him sannyas, and this is such a high title. And Srila Prabhupada said, I'm not giving them sannyas because they're great. This is a very interesting line of thinking from Srila Prabhupada. He said, I'm not giving them sannyas because they're so great. I'm giving them sannyas so that they leave me alone, so that they stop bothering me. In other words, I'm giving them responsibility. I'm giving them this great responsibility. The more the devotee was in difficulty, struggling with something, Srila Prabhupada would always increase the responsibility placed with that devotee. And then giving sannyas was a form of that approach that Srila Prabhupada have. He didn't give sannyas because they were greater than others. He would give them sannyas because they needed engagement. And Srila Prabhupada would give them responsibility, would give them, and with the guru, it's interesting. When guru gives an instruction or gives a responsibility, with that responsibility comes what, Krishna Prabhu? With that instruction comes what? With the instruction from a guru comes what?
Empowerment.
Empowerment to fulfill it, yes. Yeah. Okay, Jeffrey Eckler Oh, Jamuna Jaya, followed by Jeffrey Eckler.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for carrying on. It's so interesting. Krishna is always so working to make points in my life. So this afternoon I will be in a Gita class where we'll be discussing chapter 16. And I just love those verses because, like, what is a demon? And it's almost comical. So Gita 16:7, Krishna says, those who are demonic do not know what is to be done as what is not to be done. Neither cleanliness nor proper behavior nor truth is found in them. And then I was thinking, in these passages of verses, it is stated that the lake is like the mind of a pure devotee, like clean, and is such a contrast of thinking about the demonic mentality and the lake. And I love this passage of verses. I just want to read on. They say that this world is unreal, with no foundation, no God in control. They say it is produced of sex desire and has no cause other than lust. Following such conclusions, the demonic, who are lost in themselves and who have no intelligence, engage in unbeneficial, horrible works meant to destroy the world. Taking shelter of insatiable lust and absorbed in the conceit of pride and false prestige, the demonic, thus illusioned, are always sworn to unclean work, attracted by the impermanence. And then I just want to, just these last two, because I love them so much, because it's almost comical that how demonic the demonic are. They believe that to gratify the senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. Thus, until the end of life, their anxiety is immeasurable, bound by a network of hundreds of thousands of desires and absorbed in lust and anger. They secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. And here's the one that always makes me giggle every time. The demonic person thinks, so much worth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy, and I've killed him, and my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the joy. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man, surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices. I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. I just love Lord Krishna, Krishna nails it so in the head. And whenever I read these, I'm always go, oh, I think I see a demon when I look in the mirror. So I just wanted to add, because as you were speaking, that is such the, and here it is literally an ass. We make asses of ourselves when you're demonic. And it's just like the perfect demon to think about this with. And I just was pulling up these verses for myself today. So thank you for highlighting them for me, so I can see the ass in myself. Lord Krishna.
Thank you, Jamuna Jai. Jamuna Jai is speaking in humility. Yeah, I also have check marks going in my head. Check. Illegal means I am the performer of the yagyas. Yeah, Jamuna Jai. I'm relating like crazy. Thank you. Jeffrey Eckler.
Hare Krishna. So I was thinking about the comparison between the cowherd boys entering the mouth of Aghasura and the cowherd boys now entering the forest of Vrindavan with Krishna. And in the case of the cowherd boys entering the cave or the mouth of Aghasura and not being worried because they were with Krishna, and now entering this beautiful scene in the Vrindavan forest that has been imprinted at this point with the lotus feet of the Lord. And in both situations, Krishna is surrounded by his associates who are glorifying and chanting his names. And just thinking that our tendency to speak about and associate with the Lord via his devotees is constant regardless of the venue, whether we're in the mouth of the demon or at the mouth of the Vrindavan forest. And I know that's kind of a off topic from what we were just speaking about, but that's where my head was. So I wanted to share that.
That's great, Jeffrey Eckler Prabhu. Great contribution. Yeah, we want to be in the association of the devotees at all times. Yeah, whether we're going through a difficult situation or a pleasurable situation, we want to make sure Krishna and his devotees are included in that situation. Very nice, Jeffrey Eckler Prabhu. On my deathbed, I want to be surrounded by devotees. I want Srila Prabhupada's kirtan played. Yeah, that's what we want. Association of the devotees. Okay, Krishna is never alone, right? There's no pastime where Krishna is just by himself. Unless Krishna Daya Prabhu can come up with a pastime where Krishna is alone. Right? Am I right, Krishna Daya Prabhu? Krishna is he never comes alone. He's never alone. He's always surrounded by his close.
Unless he's hiding from Radharani.
Yeah. Okay.
Independent. If he wants, then we can. Yeah.
And devotees also, we want to chant japa in the association of other devotees, even though japa is like an intimate process. Still, it's always good to do it collectively, right? So we seek the association of the devotees. We're like this association seeking missiles. Adipusha Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful pastime. Krishna, how he's responding to his devotees. There's so many affectionate exchanges, and then how he responds to those that are choosing to act in a demoniac way. And it says, the spiritual master is a litmus test, to see which way a person is inclined, and the respect and the appreciation of the status of the spiritual master is so important. Lotus feet of the spiritual master is the only way to obtain pure devotional service. I was remembering yesterday an incident that happened right here in Radha Muralidar's temple room. A senior editor from the New York Times came here with another reporter and a photographer. And they came at 4:00 in the morning. I told you this?
No.
And I was there to welcome them. I asked the man, wow, senior editor, how long have you been doing the service? He said, 35 years. Very stately and obviously intelligent, articulate person. And then they came into the temple room. And just as they came in, there was a devotee offering dandavats before the Vyasa-san. And this senior editor, not just figuratively choked, but literally choked. What? He couldn't handle it. It's such a, we're seeing it every day, so we don't think of it as so radical, but what is that? What is he doing? Why is he bowing down like that? It was so, he was so disturbed that even though he was asking a question, I didn't respond. I just looked at him just quietly for a few minutes to let him settle back down from his outrage. And I said, do you want to, this happened, so we're sharing it. Will you allow me to answer that question? You see, what that person is doing, there's no coercion involved. There's nobody standing over him with a stick. He's doing that. It's something coming from the heart. It's a gesture of respect. It's a very powerful gesture of submission and appreciation because he's heard from his teacher. And the simple truth is so rare in this world. Many people are telling half-truths or outright lies or misperceptions, but he feels so nourished and inspired by what he's heard from his guru that as a reciprocation, he's bowing down like that with complete, he's thinking this is someone worthy of my complete trust and obedience. And so, that's what he's doing. That's why he's doing. And, it's America, right? We have the freedom to express our faith the way we feel comfortable doing it. So that's what he's choosing to do. And of course, you have not heard from this teacher. You haven't read the books. You haven't heard him speak. So we can understand that you might be very surprised to see someone offer that much deep submission and respect. You might think, is it possible that anybody is worthy of that kind of obeisances? So we can understand the fact that you find it to be unusual, but we hope you can understand that this is something that this person is choosing to do freely and is very happy to do, and that you're right, it's a sign of tremendous respect and very rare in this world. Anyway, just something that happened, and demoniac people will say there's no God, or I'm God, or my pleasure and preference is what is the priority in life, and no understanding that there's anyone else to be pleased, served. Devotional service is the life of the soul.
See, dear devotees, Adipusha Prabhu didn't attack or kill the reporter. He just approached him humbly and told him that besides the way you see things, there's another way of seeing things. Very humbly, Adipusha Prabhu approached with commonsensical things. When there's a person, when we're dealing with a person who is all common sense, everything has to make sense, we should build a bridge between their understanding and the message that we want to communicate. So Adipusha Prabhu expertly did that. With commonsensical knowledge, he communicated the message to the reporter.
And that reporter, we heard from Guru. That's all. Glories to Prabhupada.
Yeah. Thank you, Adipusha Prabhu. Venetia gave us a heart. What was that? Venetia, would you like to translate your heart into words?
Yes, and forgive me for not putting my camera on. I just loved that story and just completely appreciated, almost have tears in my eyes listening to that. It's so beautiful. The humility, because sometimes we're tempted when we are confronted with that kind of arrogance to kind of step back up or think that we're in a position to swing an ass into a tree. But it's so inspiring to think of the path that was just presented to us to proceed with humility like that, because it's so much more powerful. I would love to know where the Times reporter went with it after that, the editor went with it after that. I also, just while I'm speaking, it's a very shallow reaction to what we read, a very neophyte reaction to what we read, but I was very moved by the description of the forest and how pure it was. And I think there's something significant to that, all the description of the flowers and the fragrances and the clarity of the water, and to think of the world before pollution it was saddening but inspiring. But it also made me wonder, there must be a reason for those descriptions that are obviously meant to evoke a sense of heaven on earth. But I wonder if it's more than that too, why the emphasis on all the description of the natural beauty that was there in the forests of Vrindavan. But it was also just, it draws one in, but it also saddens one to think how much we've lost.
Yeah, very beautiful reflection, Venetia. And Venetia Devi Prabhu is not just, speaking theoretically. She's taking care of a little plot of land in the middle of First Avenue. She's making it into a Prabhupada's forest. There will be a picture installed. Have you installed the picture yet, Venetia?
No, not yet. I want to wait for the flowers to come up. It's looking a little grim in winter. This is the tree pit in front of the Bhakti Center.
Yeah.
So when the flowers are up, I'll put his picture up, so it's worthy.
Nice. Yeah, this is a devotee thinking. Yeah, we can't put Prabhupada in something grim. We want to make sure the flowers are there. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada is never without flowers. Krishna is never alone. Yeah, beautiful, Venetia. Any thoughts on Venetia's commentary about why so much emphasis was put in the fragrances and flowers of Vrindavan?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. On the Manjari.
Thank you so much for this reflection. I actually cherish these descriptions the most when I hear lectures and read. And one thing is that in the spiritual world, everything is alive. So even when the wind is mentioned, or when the water is mentioned, or when the fragrance is mentioned, these are actually devotees that are supporting the pastime to be carried out. And so we can also think about that, how wonderful it is to imagine, like the wind is supporting the pastime to deliver the fragrance, to bring the pleasure to Radha and Krishna and all Krishna's associates. And another thing that was brought to my mind is that there is a description of Vrindavan forests, and they're super green. And if you can imagine the colors, the green is created by the mixture of blue and yellow. And so there is this metaphorical, beautiful description that actually the forest is a combination of the love of Radha and Krishna, because they often meet in the forests, because the blue, or this beautiful dark cloud of Krishna's complexion is meeting and seeking the golden complexion of Radha. And so when they come together, they create this incredible green, luscious environment. So that's my 5 cents I wanted to add here.
Ananda Manjari Kavirajini, beautiful poetry. Ananda Manjari, so cool. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Sometimes we think that fragrances and colors are here in this world, and in the spiritual world it's just a cloud or like space where everything is floating, and it just gives us a glimpse into what spiritual world is like, that there are fragrances there, there's everything there, form is there. Krishna is his form, Krishna is his body. Srila Prabhupada would always emphasize Krishna and his form are indifferent. I am not this body, but Krishna is his body. And there are fragrances in the spiritual world. Right? Krishna Daya Prabhu.
I'm just continuing Anand Manjari Prabhu's thought process. So it is said even in this summary also, like when Krishna's lotus feet is touching Mother Earth or the forest, it's like one way of Krishna doesn't wear the shoes of chappal, because it's one way of blessing Mother Earth. Like in South India, when we go to the temples, they'll keep us this Shatagopam. Even in Mayapur, also in front of Narsingdev, every day they keep. So on the top, there are the lotus feet of the Lord. So when lotus feet of the Lord is touching our head, it is like a blessing. So similarly, Krishna is constantly blessing Mother Earth. And by the touch of Krishna, or even the wind which touches Krishna and which touches the other living entities, so all the senses are enlivened, and then they become most jubilant. So so that's why in entire Vrindavan, everything is always super excited, and then they are always conscious. Of course, everybody is a devotee there, even wind, even trees, the animals, all are great devotees. So even in Dhruva Maharaj time, past time, so he's unable to speak, and Krishna gives the blessing. So then he speaks nice poetry, nice prayers. So he says that, Krishna, you entered into me, and then you enlivened my dead senses, and now I'm able to speak. So in Vrindavan, everything is super enlivened, super conscious, and then they are always in jubilant mode because of Krishna's touch. Yeah, it is said Vrindaranyam Swapadaramanam. So the things are beautiful because Krishna is there. So things are becoming more beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you, Krishna Daya Prabhu. Yeah, Krishna says in the Gita, in the Bhagavad Gita, I am the ability in men. So we as devotees, we want to talk and speak in glorification of Krishna. Whatever we have to say, we want to include Krishna in there, and we don't want to speculate and concoct things. We just want to glorify Krishna and speak in line with our Guru, with Srila Prabhupada. This way our speaking will be nice. Everything else we vibrate is an embarrassment. Speaking of myself, at least. Yeah. Is it darshan time, Adipurusha Prabhu? Yeah. Okay. Adipurusha Prabhu, can you turn the camera so we can see Shishara Mulidhar, Shigura Chandra? Okay. Camera's on. Standing up for Krishna. Everybody except Jeffrey Eckler, stand up. Krishna. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone, for staying alive with us. Vaisheshika Prabhu says we should stay alive. So by keeping our commitment to this class, we're staying alive. So thank you very much. I appreciate all of you for participating in this effort, in this joyful effort to please Srila Prabhupada and the devotees. Hare Krishna. We saw Vasudeva and Gaura Sharan on the altar. So that's a good sign. That's a good sign. They were here overseeing us. Right? Okay. Hare Krishna. Have a wonderful day. See you again tomorrow. Love you all. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.